Okay, welcome to Dr. Teach Me to Parent. Glad you're here with us again today, and we have a very special program as we look at the family and the family life in the inner city. Every city has what we call the inner city, and we're going to talk about what that is and how we define the inner city and who makes up the inner city. But today we have as our special guest Bruce Hood. Bruce Hood is a former chaplain with the jails and with the rescue mission, and now he's a pastor of a church which is a little unusual. It's called Feed My Sheep Ministry, the Church of Feed My Sheep Ministry. You're going to hear about that. There's a whole different way of doing church, and it's a way of doing church in the inner city. And so he's blending his kind of idea of a church with the needs of the inner city and doing some very interesting service types of behavior and activities within the city. So Bruce Hood will be our special guest as we introduce him in just a moment. But let me give you a quote to kind of put our topic today in perspective and help you just kind of see how we're going to go today in our discussion. Thank God for fathers who not only gave us life, but taught us how to live. You know, and Bruce, this is really a quote which I think is profound. It's the fathers not just give life, but teach how to live.
Sure they do.
Many of the kids in the inner city have no father to teach them how to live.
That's what a big problem.
Did you have a father that taught you how to live?
I had a father that taught me how to live, and the thing that I admire about my father is that he stayed there with us, with me and myself, and there was 13 kids.
13 kids.
In my family. And he stayed there with us, him and Mom, and they worked hard.
Were you raised in the inner city that way or in a small town?
No. I'm from a little town called Carruthers. I was raised up on the farm.
That's a little farm town, yeah.
Yeah, and I learned at an early age how to pick up a shovel and go to work. And that's something the children are not taught today.
That's right.
And so I was raised up.
One of the first lessons that a father teaches a kid, right?
Exactly. And so and I learned to work at an early age, and I had a father around me to teach me all those great principles that a man needs to know in life. To make it through life. Although I kind of went astray, but I came back.
I see.
So
your father's teachings stuck.
They stuck. Yeah.
Now, maybe not every day, as you say. There may have been periods of time when you kind of disregarded. But they got in you and they stuck.
Sure. And what I mean by that, there was a time in my life when I got away from the right way of life.
Yeah.
I got involved in drugs, alcohol, all that stuff, what we see young people getting involved in today. And I took the rebellious road. Mm-hmm. But then, there was a time in my life when God got a hold of me and began to get me back on the right track. And everything that my father taught me, all those good things that we could apply to our life to become success. I
Give me an
remember.
example of that. Just not the work idea.
Well,
pick up a shovel and work. That was very important. That's number one.
Well,
what else did he teach?
Well, probably number one is standing with a man standing with his family. Taking care of his children.
Absolutely.
Taking care of his children. See, I was an eyewitness of my father sticking it out. Like I say, in my family, there was 13 kids. We was very poor. Daddy worked hard all the time. The one thing I can always remember him was for working.
Yeah.
He was a junk man. He used to separate metals.
That's what he did.
Yeah, and do things like that. Yeah. But he was always working. And I never can remember my father out late at night and coming home drunk, beating up my mother. Nothing like that. Nothing like that ever happened in our home. Mm-hmm. My mother was a type of mother. There was 13 of us kids. So Mama used to have to take food and make from scratch. She'd take her own flour and make her own biscuits and bread. And
taught you how to cook, basically, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She could take a little and make it go a long way. Mm-hmm. She can take the things today what people disregard and make a fantastic meal. And so I came from a home like that. There was a lot of love in my home. The family, we all stuck together. if someone had a problem with one of the family members, they had a problem with all the family members.
Yeah. I talked one time to a gal who was raised out in the Crothers area, out in the farm. There were 16 kids. In the family, and the father was a farm worker. And the mother was a farmer. All the kids were farm workers.
That's what we were.
And the father said to these kids, "You're going to go to college. And you're not going to grow up like I did. You're not going to be a farm worker like I've been. I'll work the farms. I'll get the money. You kids go to school." All 16 kids of those graduated from college. All 16.
You know, there's a lot of my sisters went to college and they graduated.
There you are.
Eventually, you know, when God got me on the right road, I went to Fresno City College and I graduated.
Good.
Daddy worked hard, and the ones that was willing to go through college and go on with schooling, he worked hard and he helped pay their way through schooling. And so that was kind of the environment in my home. Like I said, we was a close family. We was knit with love. We worked the farm. I know how to, man, I've picked grapes, I've chopped cotton, tied vines, all of it.
You've done it all.
At 16 years old, I had my own, me and another gentleman, we had our own small business hauling hay. And I mean, we used to stand on the back of that bobsled truck with hooks in our hands as that loader would bring those bales up, and that was hard work. That was some hard work.
Did you earn your money?
Yeah, we earned our money.
What'd you do with that money?
Well, sometimes I didn't do the right things with it. That's the problem. That was one of the problems right there.
But you decided to go to school and make it.
Yeah, I did. And,
you know, going to school and getting an education, certainly a high school education and a junior college education and beyond, is the key factor of keeping out of poverty.
Sure, it is.
You've got to have the education. Otherwise, you're 80% prone to being poverty.
Yeah. You know, and brother, when you asked me to come on the show and you gave me the description of what we was talking about, that was one of the things that I jotted down about the inner city. And those ones that are kind of stuck in the inner city. Most of the people that we see in the inner city, they kind of trapped.
They are.
And stuck.
They are. That's a good. I think it is. I think they're stuck. They don't want to be there necessarily. I don't think anybody wants to be in the inner city.
Not at all. Not at all.
But they're stuck there.
They have no choice.
That's right.
You know, and one of the factors is education.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
You know, education and jobs and those finances to raise them up to a level where they can step out of inner city. See, you know, when they're in a bracket of maybe a certain income that comes in, maybe welfare, Social Security, whatever it is. You know, that keeps you kind of confined to a certain area. You know, to where you can only afford to pay and be there. And so we get a lot of our inner city people that are kind of trapped in those inner city areas.
You know, the research on that is, besides having education as a way of getting out of poverty, getting out of the inner city, is that one person in the family be a wage earner. Make money. One person. Now, better if two, or the kids make money and so on. But one person at least be a wage earner. That's the way out of poverty. You got to have the education and one person being a wage earner.
All those things are needed to step out of poverty.
Your father was that, wasn't he?
He was that.
He wanted you to have the education. And he earned the money. He worked. Your kids worked.
You know, and one of the things too that kind of helped me is that you know, I wasn't exactly raised up in that inner city environment.
No.
You know, we
you're raised on a farm.
We raised on a farm.
That's a big difference.
And then the things that I was taught taught how to work. And then I had a good example. My father left me a good example. And all those lifestyles that he lived out in front of me, you know, I remember.
You're still living them today.
I do. In
fact, you're preaching them today,
aren't you? And I do behind the pulpit. A lot of times when I'm behind the pulpit talking to my congregation, I remember things that my mother and father and how they lived and things they taught us. A lot of times I find myself preaching about my dad, you know, and some of the things that he taught me.
Well, he was a good example.
Yes, he was.
For you, but if he was a good example for you, he was a good example for us.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that's how you have to look at it.
Yes.
He had something to say to all of us.
Yes, he did. And he left something good behind. You know, being a pastor, I do a lot of funerals. And one thing that I notice at funerals is, we always talk about a lot of times that person's life, and those we try to find those good things that person had within his life, so that other people could learn from.
Sure.
And so, and I always said this, when I leave, I want to leave a good example. I want to leave something that's going to, my life, I want to leave something out of my life that's going to benefit and help other people to.
Which is what your father did.
Yes.
When he left you guys, 16 of you behind, 13 of you behind, and you guys all took it from there and took it to a new level.
Sure, yes.
He ought to be proud of you.
I
would think he would be.
I know he is. I know he is.
He ought to be. Mother too.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Well, my mother especially. My mother, she was the one that. A lot of times people gave up on me. I was a drug addict for 16 years. I mean, in and out of jail. When I walked away from the good way of life, and I went out there and just started getting involved, like everyone else. I spent 16 years of my life out there in and out of jail, and on drugs.
16 years.
And my mother and most of the people that knew me, they kind of gave up on me.
Yeah.
And they would say things like, that Bruce Hood never gonna be nothing. Might well mark him out, forget about him, go on to someone else. But my mother, she never quit praying and believing and hoping that God one day would change my life. And that happened in 1989.
A working father and a praying mother, right? That's what you had, right?
That's what I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all came back together, and so my life has panned out today. And, and I've been 30 years clean and sober, no drug, no alcohol, and did the best I could for these last 30 years to serve God and serve people in the community.
And that's what you're doing. We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that, how you kind of serve the people of this community, of your community in the inner city. And so we're going to take a break here, Bruce, for a moment. And people can get a cup of coffee and kind of join us for this next conversation, because I want you to talk a little bit about just the inner city itself.
Sure.
You've lived in the inner city, and you know it. You know it firsthand.
Yep.
And other people read about it and hear about it, but really, what is the life and breath and the smell of that inner city that's in your heart, and that that know more, it more than anybody else. Yeah. So maybe you can educate us a little bit about that. And I want to talk about kind of what are you doing in the inner city. We'll do that, a second to that. Yeah. But anyway, let's take a little break, get a cup of coffee, and come on back in just a little bit, okay?
When I set foot on the campus to come visit it, I was struck by how open and how welcoming the students and the professors were. Coming to Gordon was like coming home.
I think intentional community is what Jesus modeled with his disciples, and Gordon has really fostered a good place for intentional community to happen.
Gordon is a place where you can meet people from all over the world and hear their stories. I meet a lot of different people who are shaping who I am today.
Gordon seeks to graduate men and women of character and of leadership, and the world is the place where Gordon students belong.
Choosing to go to Gordon was, I think, one of the best decisions I've made in my life. Expect to be changed.
Pompe disease is a progressive, multisystemic, debilitation, and often fatal muscular disease. The United Pompe Foundation was formed to assist those affected by Pompe with the medical costs and other expenses that they may not be able to fully cover through their insurance. Visit unitedpompe.com to learn more and to make a tax-deductible contribution to the United Pompe Foundation.
All right, welcome back to Dr. Teach Me to Parent. We're in our discussion phase here with Bruce Hood, inner city pastor. And he has a different approach to pastoring than anybody would ever think of because it fits the inner city. He's the pastor of a church named the Good Shepherd. What is it, Bruce?
Feed My Sheep Ministry.
Feed My Sheep Ministry. That's a whole different type of church than you would never see anywhere else except in the inner city. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit.
Sure.
But first of all, help me understand, Bruce, just the inner city itself. You know, we talk about the inner city as if it were something. And some of us have bad feelings about it, ideas about it. Some have none of it, just it's a place. What is the inner city in your life and in your experience?
Well,
how do you think about it?
Inner city, number one, is made up of all different types of people.
Yes.
You're going to find the African American, the Caucasian, you're going to find the Asian, Hispanic, and every nationality.
Every nationality that is in the area.
In the inner city. And these are people that just have fallen under the poverty level.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the key factor, isn't it? It's mixed community.
Yep.
Racially,
mm-hmm.
and it's below the poverty line.
Yep. And they kind of in a situation where they can't get out of.
Yeah.
Because the financial status.
Helpless or hopeless. I don't know what the word is, but yeah.
The financial status won't allow them to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got people in the inner city that just become, we always hear that phrase of like kids become a product of their environment.
Yes.
And that's like saying you got an environment filled with gangs and drugs and all these things, and you got kids in that environment, the people in that environment. And what can happen is those people can become a product of that environment.
You just perpetuate it, don't you? You just one life upon the other.
Mm-hmm. And it becomes a generational thing.
Sure. Kids learn from their parents.
Yeah.
Like you learn from your parents.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it becomes a generational thing, and you got kids and families growing up in the inner city that don't want to be there, don't really want to be in those lifestyles, and don't want to do the things they got to do to survive in the inner city, but they kind of trapped and kind of stuck, and they have no choice but to do what they got to do every day, get involved in all the hustle and bustle. A lot of kids that grow up in the inner city, they kind of like, again, become a product of that environment and just kind of get involved in what's going on. The drug activity, the gang activities, dropping out of school.
And it just keeps going, doesn't it?
It keeps going.
You can't spin out of that. We talk about being stuck in the inner city.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is,
Yes,
isn't it?
Yes, it is. And they lacking education, jobs, and those things, and financial status to help them to become a better, productive citizens in life.
Why aren't there jobs in the inner city that are available to people in the inner city?
That's something that I have never really understood.
Yeah,
it's like that, and we have a real low employment rate of people in the inner city. And it's just I get so sometimes it just really bothers me.
Yeah,
because I get young men over where we at that's just constantly all the time, Pastor, I need a job. Sometimes we see these young men, they're out there doing things that they wouldn't be doing
otherwise
if they would have had a job, if they would have had some kind of way of making income to be there to help their families and raise their kids up and things.
But see, you were raised by a father that worked.
He taught me how to work.
And he taught you how to work.
Yes, he did.
There are a lot of these kids in the inner city today that don't have a father that works.
Yep.
Don't have a father.
Yep.
They don't have a father that teaches them how to work.
Yep.
So where are they going to learn work? work habits, the work thinking.
You know, and you know, unfortunately, the only place they got turned to is like the drug dealer. And people like that.
That's the kind of work they do.
That's the kind of work they do.
That's the kind of work they do.
Yeah, the majority of the inner city kids do. Now, that's not all of them. There's some of them, brother, I mean, they stick it out in school and do what they got to do.
Sure.
You know, to become, you know, the people they need to be.
Yeah.
But again, inner city life is real tough. It's something that people don't really enjoy being involved in, but a lot of times they don't have no choice.
But it seemed to me like a city government could make a point of trying to bring into the inner city business, a factory, a call center, some kind of work in the inner city area so that people who live there, now they all aren't going to work, we know that, but some will.
Some will.
And some will use that as a way out of poverty.
Sure. Yeah.
That's one I see as a role of government, is to bring in a work potential, a work opportunity as a factory or some kind of a company that hires people.
Yeah.
Low-level people, but still work.
Yeah, and that's what's needed. We need more involvement with the higher class in the inner city.
The mixing together.
We need more involvement of people with businesses and job opportunities and things like that to bring into the inner city to begin to work with some of these kids. See, it worked in my life. You know,
it did.
The work ethics that I learned, and now being able to put them to, you know, one Fresno rescue mission helped me greatly.
Yeah.
You know, when I
was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
When I was a drug addict, I went through that program. And it was through that program that God raised my life up. And then I went to work for the Fresno Rescue Mission.
And many do, that's right.
I went to work there as a chaplain. And I served there, and back then Jim Taylor was the director.
Oh, yes.
And he knew that there was something about my life that was worth working with. And so the rescue mission was very inspirational and helped me financially to get started, because I was offered a job there that I took, and I worked and I could earn money. And then even after I started working, the rescue mission had their own real estate people, and they helped me to buy the home what I'm in now. And it's out of the inner city. And, you know, and through over the years, the last 30 years, my life has been able to develop and grow stronger and stronger.
It's a slow process, though, isn't it?
It was a slow process.
Very slow process, but you keep going.
But see now my life, I'm able to go back into the inner city and around all the stuff that's going on, and keep my focus and stand in the direction where God has taken my life. And so, you know, it was good that I was moved out there for a while.
Sure.
But now sometimes I wish I would move back.
Sure.
You know, because that's where my work is at every day, all the time.
Yeah, you work right in that inner city every day. You're there every day.
Every day, I'm full time there.
So you feel it.
Oh yeah.
You live it. You suffer with the people who are in it.
Sure.
Don't you? I mean, because you feel their feelings.
I'm like I say, I'm there every day to see those young men, good, strong, healthy, with a good mind on the shoulder, young men that have potential, that are able to become all that they can be, but their life is just being thrown away, going to nothing, because they don't have nothing, don't know what to do. There's nothing available for them over there, and they just don't have good role models. A lot of us good role models, you know. And again, you touch it, brother. You know, the fathers are missing in the home.
Yeah.
You know,
what about the inner city church, though? You have one, but there are many. And as a group of churches in the inner city, some are black, some are not black, some they're mixed culture and racial backgrounds on. Are they trying to work together? Are they trying to raise the people up to a higher level?
You know, I believe that every pastor in West Fresno and even in North Fresno is always wanting to do the best they can to help people. You know, you can't be a pastor and not have a heart for people.
Well, that's right.
You know,
that's right.
So all of us, you know, we're doing the best we can, but it's tough because, you know, it's a few of us, but then you have so many people that are kind of already kind of in that mode of thinking and in those lifestyles, and it's kind of already set in their way, and it's so many that you got to deal with. There's so many. It's so few of us.
Yeah.
It's almost like
it's overwhelming, isn't it?
It's almost like the police department. You got a few police, but then you got the thousands of people. And they're trying to put out fires here and work with this person, work with it.
It's just endless.
It's endless work.
You have to do the best you can.
You do the best you can,
and you got to just stay with it and just.
You don't never give up, because there's always going to be another like me, like Bruce Hood, that you're going to be able to find.
That's right.
There was a man, he was the Arrow Director of Prison Fellowship, Austin Morgan. Years ago when God changed my life and I got out of jail and started working in the church world, he told me this, and I'll never forget it. He said, Bruce, he said, working in ministry is like a man digging for gold out of a bunch of gravel. He said you dig through a lot of gravel, but you find a
little gold down in there.
And so it's worth it, you know what I mean, to dig through all that gravel, go through all that we go through, but you get that gold. And when you get that gold, it's joy then.
First, let me ask you just about that church that you are pastoring. You call it the Feed My Sheep Ministry.
Feed My Sheep, yes.
What's it? Is it different than most churches? Are you?
Well, our church is, we meet. We have a little church building where we meet at and we worship. We have our Bible study and we learn. But most of our time is spent out in the street.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, I came out of the street. I tell people my name is Bruce Hood. I'm from the hood, but now I'm part of the brotherhood. And so I came out of all those environments, and that's what I know. I know, I tell people I'm not no big theologian. I can't, I can't go through all this theological stuff, but I do know enough about the Bible to know that God loves us. And I know how to get out there in the street and work with people. These people that are what we call the throwaways in life. Those people that other folk give up on. Those families that are out there that are just going through all the mully grubs in life and don't have a clue of how to get out. I do know how to get out and work with those people, and that's what.
So you're kind of like a street pastor.
That's what I am.
I mean, if you think of it that way, don't you?
Yes.
Door to door, on the streets, where the people live.
We spend a lot of time door to door. I'm a lot of time doing a lot of outreaches. We have a lot of car shows and carnivals and things like that. We got a big national bicycle show coming up in May, what we have every year. About 3,000 people attend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's what it is to say no to violence, national bike show and rally. So I'm always in the community doing things like that.
Trying to figure out.
Yeah, and then we spend a lot of time knocking on doors, door to door, and working with people. I have a great relationship with the Worship Center Church out near 99 in Manning. And through them, they have a program called City Serve, where they actually get new things that's from department stores. It was like returns. I mean, anything from furniture to appliances, and we're able to get those things. And the agreement is to give them to those people.
Well, let's come back and talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. Let's take a break.
Okay.
Because that's a big deal.
Sure it is.
That is a big deal.
Sure.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
You mean actually a giveaway of not just the food.
Well, we do food too.
Yeah, but this is more than food.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
And people cleave to it.
Well, that helps them live more comfortably.
And then it gives us a greater opportunity to present the Lord Jesus Christ to them in their lives.
Let's come back and talk about that.
All right.
Let's take a break, and we'll see you in a couple minutes.
The Green Gables Care Home is a 24-hour assisted living facility for the elderly located in Clovis, California, offering spacious private and semi-private rooms which are wheelchair approved, catering to the special person in your life who needs attention and wants to live in a loving home environment. The Green Gables Care Home has assisted living in secured homes for elderly with Alzheimer's, memory loss, and for your loved ones needing assistance with their activities of daily living. Call 559-297-9438 and visit greengablescarehome.com.
Sometimes good intentions hurt rather than help. For just $1.76 per meal, the Fresno Rescue Mission offers more than food. We offer hope. Please donate today.
Do you need a locksmith? Layman's Lock and Safe Service and Repair is available for you. 559-228-1805.
Gained a lot, learned a lot, and got a lot of love. If it weren't for the knowledge that I had gained from the classes at PCC, I probably wouldn't be the mom I am today. See, there it goes.
I would love you to meet my son Aaron. My situation was very difficult. I didn't know how my life was going to turn out.
We graduated in June 2010 and we got married in July. And through family, the Pregnancy Care Center changed our lives.
The Pregnancy Care Center was a huge, vital part in helping me walk through that pregnancy, in educating me and loving on me during that time.
Choosing a Medicare plan can be difficult and frustrating. Susan Hatch can guide you through the Medicare maze and help find the right plan for you. Susan helps people understand the confusing and drastic changes that occur every year in Medicare. Susan will only recommend plans that will protect your assets and allow you to continue to see your personal doctor. As a 100% independent agent, Susan is not controlled by any particular insurance company to steer a person onto any one particular plan. Susan was awarded the #1 Medicare supplement agent in California. Look for Susan's Medicare question and answers every Monday in the Fresno Bee. Call Susan at 559-307-2287 and visit MedicareToday.net.
Okay, welcome back to Dr. Teach Me to Parent. We are discussing the inner city today, the inner city family, actually, with Bruce Hood, who is an inner city local, a pastor of a church that's very different in the inner city. Feed my sheep. And here's the idea. He doesn't just deal with a group inside the church. He's a man that goes out to the street. So he's a street pastor, if you will. And right now he's in a program that you gather a lot of, not just food, but a lot of furniture and a lot of objects, a lot of things that people need and can benefit from.
Sure.
And you're a kind of a distribution opportunity, are you?
Yes, sir.
How does that work?
Well, first of all, you gotta have a heart to do it.
Well,
you gotta make time. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's like a commitment. We work with a bigger church out near Manning and 99 called the Worship Center. Mm-hmm. It used to be that casino, but they turned it into a church.
Oh, yes, okay.
And they've got a program out there called City Serve. And through that church, they're able to get warehouses full of new things that we can distribute out to poor families, needy families. And this is like furniture, appliances, man, you name it, whatever you see in a home that people need. We're able to get our hands on it, and the agreement is to give it to these people, meet the needs of these people.
No cost.
No cost. If there's ever a cost in it, we out of luck, we won't get it no more. And so, but it's great because it works very, very good when you.
So where do these things come from?
Well,
refrigerators or whatever.
I'm not exactly sure. They come from some type of department store.
Some of the stores.
Yeah, some of the stores.
So these would be like returns or broken items and things like that. They can't get rid of or can't resell.
Yeah.
So then they give them away. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
A lot of items
Good.
what they give us, they're not broken.
Yeah.
It's probably something they couldn't sell.
Oh, I
or
see.
Something that was returned for one reason or another.
Wonderful.
That was able to give to put in our hands and give to people. So it works real well because over where our church is at and where we work at daily, you know, you just got miles and miles of people all around us that are literally poor, dirt poor. Remember, we right in the center of the inner city. We in the part of town where
so a lot of these people would not even have a couch.
They wouldn't even have a couch. In fact, a lot of homes, we spend a lot of time knocking on doors, going out and working with people. And that's one of the ways that we give away this
then you
stuff.
know what people need because you're there. You see it.
We see it.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time knocking on doors, and then we get to visually see. You know, there's no couch. There's no dining room table. A lot of the homes that you walk into are poor, impoverished people. They table to sit down and eat where they put the kids and some newspaper spread out on the kitchen floor.
That's their table.
They don't. That's their table. That's their table. I'm literally telling you the truth, man. There's people like that. They just don't have things. A lot of them, you see laundromats are a real big thing today.
Yes.
It's a booming business. You know why? Because a lot of people, they don't have a washer and dryer. They don't have it. And so they have to spend their last quarters, nickels and dimes, going to a laundromat. You catch a mother that's got several kids, and usually in homes over in that neighborhood, the fathers are missing in action. That's the big problem.
That's the issue.
The fathers are not sticking it out. That's why it's real big with me. When I remember how Daddy stayed there with me, and he stayed there with all of us. It's real big in my life.
Yeah.
And I teach that everywhere I go.
Oh, and keep doing that.
Because I see it. You know, God used that to prepare me to see what's going on today. In reality, the fathers are missing in home. They're not there. They're gone, and they leave. A lot of them leave the wife there and the mother there with those children to raise those families.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you go into these homes, they're the ones that don't have a couch. They're the ones that don't have beds. They're the ones
on floors. They're just
they're the ones.
Or a couple chairs for several people, and have to trade off.
And then too, we mentioned washer and dryer. You see many of them. I mean, they scrounging just to get money to do laundry. Just to get money to do laundry. A lot of times the clothes sometimes are not clean because they just don't have the money to do laundry. Sometimes it's a great factor just getting the money to get a loaf of bread. You see. And so we got poor inner city people that are going through it in life. A lot of poor people spend most of their day concerned and trying to hustle and bustle and worry about how to get food on the table.
Dollars together.
And get their bills paid. A lot of them often get their PG&E turned off and all kinds of things like that because they just don't have the money to stretch out to pay that bill.
Yeah.
And so it's a great work all the time in the inner city.
So do you just give them, let's say, a couch or a dining room table or a kitchen table, or is there some kind of
No.
response that you're asking of them?
No, we always invite them to come to church, but our love is not based off of them doing something.
Yes.
And so
they don't have to come to your church.
Not at all.
Or any church, particularly.
They don't.
I see.
All we got to do is see the need there, and we're able to show them a kind of a love by meeting that need, and that's it. That's it.
They must appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, they do.
You must get all kinds of appreciation, gratitude. For
and then we get some of them that they'll come to church because they're happy. They see something different.
Yeah.
We live in a life where people's always got the hint they want something.
Sure.
They're not used to you giving something.
Yeah.
And so it's a difference, to them. And so it's great too because it's just a joy to see people blessed.
Yeah, but when you look at a family like that has no table, no couch, probably no bed, or maybe a bed for many people to sleep on, what's the family like in there? I mean, are they loving families?
Yeah.
Are they caring families?
A lot of the families.
Even though they have no money.
A lot of the families are just normal, everyday families that we visit with.
Is that right?
And many of them have more compassion and love toward other people, you'd be surprised.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. I've really noticed that. A lot of poor families like that don't have nothing, they have a lot of compassion for other people. And they have a heart like a heart of gold. And it's
because they know what it's like. They know what it's like to live without.
I think so. And so we have a good time in our church being able to meet with people like that. Mm-hmm. Our church is not that big. On a good Sunday morning, we may run about 60, 65 people that attend.
That's good size.
Our service. But we got the church is based off of doing what we can for other people. Mm-hmm. Again, I grew up in that environment. I know what it is to be poor. I know what it is to live in inner city. Yeah. I know what it is to go out there and have to hustle and bustle, to pay bills and this and that and go through those things that I get to go through. I know what it is to be on drugs. Yeah. And,
But you also know that in back of you there's a family.
That's right.
In your case, you had a father and you had a mother.
Yeah,
Many don't have a father. Many don't even have a mother.
Yes.
Full time or even in the home very much.
Yeah.
And
we keep going back to that. And, and you know why? Because those are the things and those characters and those things that Daddy taught me and that I learned at home is what helped me in my life to become where I'm at today and to be the man I am today.
Yeah.
Again, I got away from those things, but there was a time in my life when God brought me back to the right road in life, and everything that I was taught at home and everything that came out of the home environment, I remember now today.
When you're talking, it just strikes me that you're living the very same life your father lived. Your father had 13 children to care for. You have 65 people in a church, and you have 165 or whatever it is in that little neighborhood that you're working.
Sure, yeah.
It's the same idea.
Yeah, same idea.
To care for them, provide for them, encourage them, support them, help them meet their needs. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing your father did.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
You're just following the same example, the same model.
Exactly, yeah.
Except your family is just a little larger.
A little larger. A little larger. It's a little larger than 165 people, too.
Well, how many is it? How many would you say that you are touching the lives of?
Well, I would say 3,000 or 4,000 people.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that's around the neighborhood, yeah.
Is that right?
We have a food distribution at our church every Friday. Mm-hmm. And there's 250 families that line up every Friday. If there's 4 Fridays in a month, we do it 4 times a month. If there's 5 Fridays, we do it 5 times a month. Through the food bank and then other organizations. Mm-hmm. We're able to provide food. Those families line up, and we have committed people out of the church and then out of the neighborhood to come and volunteer, bag up those food items, and those families line up, and they take those bags and bags of groceries home every Friday.
Yeah.
And so
they eat on that probably most of the week.
Mm-hmm. So we have that program going, and then the door-to-door, working with the worship center and City Serve, we have that program going, and then again, most of my ministry, I work with a lot of people that's got problems with drug, alcohol, gangs. That's my everyday life and people I work with. And so we able to really touch a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're able to really touch a lot of lives.
Is the gang population open to you? Will they talk to you? Will they listen to you? Will they come near to you?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you hands off?
No. Most of those men and women that's involved in gangs, they either know about me or they know of me. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying about some of them that know about me, some of them that I used to be out there with. I was never a gang member, but I was out there in that drug culture and things like that, and out there in the streets. Mm-hmm. So they know me. Yeah. And in my family, my family's very large, and we got a history too of being a bad boy too. Mm-hmm. So a lot of them know me, and they seen where I came from, and they know I mean business. And they respect me. I don't have no problem with them.
That's the key.
No problem at all.
That's the key.
And then a lot of them, it could be times when they appear at our church for food. Mm-hmm. It may be times when we may knock on the door and say, here's a microwave oven, or here's a fan, or a portable heater, what you need. And so they respect me a lot.
Yeah.
They respect. They know I mean business. I spend most of my time. I'm out in the street every day, all day.
Yeah, but gang have the same experience as the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
They die.
Sure.
They need somebody to bury them.
Yeah.
They have problems personally.
Mm-hmm.
They need somebody to talk and somebody to listen to them.
Yeah.
Somebody to just be available to them. Are you that person?
Well, sometimes, sometimes, and then perhaps it may be someone else at other times.
Sure.
But because of the life I come from, and then and where I'm at most of the time out there with them, that I've gained a little bit of trust within them to know that I'm not there to hurt them, but to help them.
Yeah.
So there's times that they'll open up to me. And there's times that they'll say, well, Pastor, I get every so often one will come to me and say, Pastor, I'm tired. I want to get out of this. I want to stop. I want to quit. They just have seen too much and they've been around too much, and and they just sick of it.
It's hard to quit.
It's hard to get out of it. Sometimes I get every once in a while I get a gang member to come to me expressing those feelings. I'm ready to stop.
Yeah.
So.
That must give you a tremendous personal feeling of, we'll call it satisfaction, but just gratitude that you are very thankful that you can be in a place where there's a need like this.
Yeah,
you're the man for it.
I'm always grateful that God raised me up, and
well, because of your experiences, how you were raised, allows you to do this work and have acceptance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because where I was at, and the experiences. And, I'm able to relate to them.
Sure.
And I'm able to reason with them and relate to them and understand them a little bit more.
Yeah.
See, and that's where it comes in.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want people to understand us. We want people who care for us. We want people who are not afraid or who are willing to stay there and talk.
Yeah. And that's where it comes in with the people on the outside. We got to understand, a lot of times the inner city people don't want to be there.
Yeah.
They just kind of got trapped in an environment.
Right. Nobody wants to be there.
And they got, and because of income, education, jobs, and all these great factors, they've been kind of put in this environment where they have to survive. And so when we understand those things, we understand things about these people, we can have more compassion for them.
Sure.
We can have more compassion for them.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question, just the idea of the inner city family. If they were listening to you today, somebody in that inner city, what would you tell them?
Well,
I mean, what's if you were knocking on their door, so to speak, today, and somebody come to the door, what would you tell them? What's your message?
I would share with them a message of hope. There's hope, no matter what situation you're in. There's always a way. My message would be to keep fighting and don't give up. A lot of times, the inner city people give up.
Yes.
They give up, and then they just become just part of all the bad and ugly things that are going on.
Yeah.
They look at their life and they say, well, it's useless. I'm always going to be this. I'm always going to be a drug addict.
The hopelessness.
The hopelessness.
Yeah.
And my message would be that there's hope, and it's found in Jesus Christ. That's I mean, I got to look at the way I came out. And maybe if a person don't want to be real religious, there's still hope. You just got to keep fighting. You got to keep trying. You got to always remember there's something better. And that's like, again, my mother never gave up on me.
That's the message you carry, don't you?
Yeah, that's the message I carry.
Right in your heart, don't you?
There's hope. Yeah.
You can just hear it.
Yeah.
You can just hear it.
Again, a lot of inner city people give up. Because they've just been in that environment so long, don't look like they're never going to get out, don't look like nothing's going to never change, looks like everything's going to get worse and worse and worse, and so they give up.
Yeah.
They give up.
And that must hurt you.
Yeah.
That must make you cry almost.
Sure.
In the sense of anybody who just says there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Exactly.
I won't. Nothing will ever turn right.
Sure.
I'll be this way forever. Yeah. The suicide rate is high.
Sure, and that's because of a lot of issues and problems.
I mean, that's totally giving up. That's how we really give up. Yeah. Let me ask you a different question.
Okay.
And that is the idea of the approach to an inner city population of people. You have the church that does a lot of different things. You have one church, but there are a lot of churches that do their own little thing of food banks and various kind of things. You have the federal government, you have the city government, you have private industry, and you have the person themselves. How does this all work together?
It's just taking advantage of all those opportunities.
They are opportunities, all of them.
There's a lot of resources that are kind of hidden. And
probably so.
That could help people.
Mm-hmm.
But
somebody's got to access those. Somebody has to open the door.
Exactly.
And it sounds to me like that's what you do. Or
we try to, but even there's a lot of resources hidden even from our eyes.
Sure.
And if they're hidden from our eyes, they're definitely hidden from those people in the inner city.
But this is not a problem that the federal government can solve. It's not a problem the city government can solve. The state government.
I believe if they worked hard at it enough,
this is
they
something
can solve
everybody
it.
Together.
Yes. It is a thing that's when you see the word community, it comes from the word something in common. And we need to have we need to all be in common in one thing in this area.
Our government was based on a concept that we call the common good.
Mm-hmm.
We all work for the good of each other.
Sure.
We all had the better good of everybody else in mind.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of lost that a little bit, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We really have lost that. We kind of do our own little thing, and we've kind of hidden.
Yeah. And it's just something that we need to talk about. And continue to bring people's awareness to it.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing today, we bring people's awareness to the fact of the inner city.
Sure.
And this is good. I love this. I'm so glad that I was invited and I was able to be here.
But when you talk to an individual, just a person in the inner city, what do you tell them? What can they do? Where can they go for this or go for that or get this help or whatever? What can they just themselves do within their own resources?
Sometimes it's just getting away from the negative people. A lot of times, inner city people would change the association. You see, it took positive people.
Mm-hmm.
And me getting around positive people, being around positive people.
Mm-hmm.
Those local churches.
You can't be with positive people until you get away from the unpositive people.
You got to get away from the unpositive people, and sometimes it's just we call it association. And then sometimes they can't do nothing about the environment that they're in because they have to live there.
Sure.
They have to go home and they have to sleep there and eat there in the home and be in that neighborhood. But it's a mind setting that it has to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people got to be able to see that there's a way and get away from those negative influences.
Sure.
And get around people with positive influence. That's what it took for my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out and I found people that were positive.
Sure.
And if you want, it was always told me if you want to be an eagle, you got to hang out with the eagle.
You got to hang out with the eagle.
Yeah, but if you hang out with the turkeys, you're gonna be a turkey.
I've heard that one.
So that's the way it was explained to me, and it's the truth, And sometimes people just gotta, we gotta step up and step out into a realm of people that are more positive.
That's right.
Then it kind of rubs off on us, and we become that positive environment of that neighborhood.
And we're going to close here in a moment.
Okay.
But, let me give another quote. This is kind of the parenting quote for the day for the audience and for you and for me. And I want you to comment about it afterwards because it kind of sums up what you've been talking about. And what's the kind of final word that you would have, for anybody listening? Maybe somebody out there has a few bucks that they'd like to share and have you use for the good, or maybe they'd like to help you in some way.
Sure.
Maybe you can just give us a comment on how that could be done. But here's the quote, Bruce, and comment on it. Spend time, not money, on your children.
Amen.
That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
You don't have money.
Yeah.
You're talking with people who don't have money.
Yeah.
They can't spend money on their kids, but they have time.
They got time. And a lot of times, time is more valuable than money.
Yes.
You know, it's a time that we spend with our children.
Yes.
The valuable time in teaching them things, you know, and planting those seeds into their life.
Yeah.
Then those seeds, you know, they'll eventually, like in my life, they'll grow.
That's right.
And that's what happened in my home. My father planted the seeds, the good seeds that he knew how to plant. Mm-hmm. And he planted them, and now they're growing.
They're growing.
Yeah, I always remember the things
That's right.
that Daddy taught me. And so
how could somebody have helped you?
Well, you know, we could always use finances. You know, everything I do, it always takes finances. Mm-hmm. There's somebody out there that you're a praying person. That could be very, very valuable help. Just somebody standing back in their home and praying. Mm-hmm. But we have I have a phone number and address if a person.
Yes, give that to us and then put it on the screen.
My phone number is area code 559-978-5469. And there's an address if someone would like to send some kind of donation to help us in the work we're doing. And that address is 4239 North Gilroy, Fresno 93722. And if there's anybody who would like to take a tour of the inner city and get exposed to some things in the inner city and see the work we do, just call me, 559-978-5469. I will take time to walk with you and walk you through. Sometimes we don't get to see the things the inner city people go through until we're right there with them.
Okay.
And then,
I'm going to take you up on that.
Oh, well, you come
I'm going to take you up on that. I'm going to do a tour.
You come on.
I'm going to do a tour.
We would love to have you.
Okay.
We'll take
Hey,
you.
thanks for joining us today. And Dr. Teach Me to Parent has been a great program with Bruce Hood. I could call him Pastor Bruce Hood, but he is. Yeah. And he's the man on the street. He's the man that brings people together. He's the man that brings people to God. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
need a dentist who has a passion for superior aesthetics and comfort, you need Dr. Christopher Wong with Cedar North Dental. Call 559-432-4948 or visit cedarnorthdental.com.
Tanya, come here. At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Kitchen in my hometown.
It's not about learning the right steps. 4 or making contact.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's not about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about taking steps to greatness. About making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen has what it takes. It's about people in our clubs who bring out the greatness in every kid who enters our doors. It's not just about being on stage. It's about walking across it. Great futures start here, and here, and here.
Sat7 is a Christian media network that uses uncensored satellite television to broadcast across the Middle East and North Africa, and is also available globally online.
CentralValleyTalk.com